I should also say for Jacobin, so I've written two things since the last show. One of them is about our good friend JD Vance. JD Vance is wrong. Donald Trump was no anti-war president because JD Vance just had an op-ed in the last couple of weeks in the Wall Street Journal where he endorses Donald Trump for president in 2024, which is not in itself very surprising because Trump helped get Vance across the finish line in Ohio, and of course, it's not unexpected that he returned the favor. Also, Vance is entirely bought and paid for by pro-Trump billionaire Peter Thiel, so he better endorse him unless Thiel's making a last-minute pivot to DeSantis. But what I found interesting is that his stated reason wasn't like, oh, Donald Trump is going to cut taxes for rich people again, which I like, which would have made sense at least. But Donald Trump kept the peace as president. He didn't start any wars, which strikes me as leaving a lot out.
Yeah, but at least. Oh, I just forgot what I was going to say. Go on.
Well, at least whatever Andy was thinking. At least that,
Yeah. No,
yes, at least I had a thought.
We can all agree on that. It's like the scene in Forrest Gump where he speaks at the anti-war rally, and he's like, "I'm going to tell you about Vietnam," and then the mic is cut for like 90 seconds while he's talking, and all the other veterans around him are like, "Oh man, you just said it." that's it. That's all there is to say. So Andy just did that for the war in Ukraine. But speaking of the war in Ukraine, Donald Trump actually did a lot to make that to escalate tensions there. As hard as this is to remember now, one of the big Republican talking points about how weak Obama was that that Obama wasn't going to send heavier weaponry to Ukraine for their war against Russia-backed separatists because he thought it'd be too escalatory. And then within his first year in office, Donald Trump did that. He also bombed Syria in a way that Obama didn't. Obama did bombing of ISIS in Syria, right? But like directed against the regime in Damascus in a way that Obama didn't. And Vance in the article gives him credit for the peace initiative for North Korea, which is fine. That's nice, I guess, even though it didn't lead to anything. It's not like we signed a peace treaty with North Korea. In fact, the U.S. and North Korea don't even neither of them has a no first use policy in place for the other. So we're not even committed to not initiating a thermonuclear war with North Korea. But I guess it's nice that there were some meetings, some diplomatic meetings, but also seems like Vance is leaving out the other half of the story, right? In other words, I'm glad that Trump calmed down and decided to reverse himself. But all of this happened in the first place because we were closer to the brink of war with North Korea than we've been in decades, right? Maybe in some ways since the Korean War. Trump and the premier of North Korea were tweeting angry shit at each other all the time, every day. It's what is he? He called Kim Jong-un called Trump a dotard, I believe is the word, which is fun.
Yes.
Trump,
the liberal, the resistance hero, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, exactly. And the dotard tweeted back that it's he kept calling him Little Rocket Man, and taunted him. It's oh, what, Little Rocket Man's gonna do something? Little Rocket Man's gonna send some missiles? It's I don't know. I don't know that this is behavior that is conducive to keeping the peace.
You still deserve credit for averting the wars that you almost started. It still counts, right? It's if you turn the ball over, and then and the other team's about to shoot and you block the shot, it's still a block, right? But maybe you should also count the turnovers, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's a lot else you could say. I mean, Israel, Palestine, Vance gives some credit for the Abraham Accords, which, finally stopped that horrible conflict that we've all lost so much sleep about between Israel and Qatar. But he doesn't mention Trump doing what no president since 1967 was willing to do, which is to recognize the Israeli annexation of East Jerusalem by moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, and thus implicitly taking it off the table as an issue in any future U.S.-backed peace talks. And my favorite is like he goes the entire article without mentioning that Trump brought us closer to the brink of war with Iran than we've been maybe since the hostage crisis. I mean, he backed out of the Obama brokered Iran nuclear deal. He had he assassinated an Iranian general. Like this is. I mean, again, like I guess you're right, Jake. You get credit for you still get credit for averting the wars that you almost started, I guess. But like that you kind of have to have that rule in place to have the evaluation of Trump that Vance ends up with.
Yeah, and we discussed the uptick, or more than an uptick, in drone bombings, right, under Trump, which is like one of the most unilateral types of violence that America is doing. And I mean, Trump revoked an Obama rule on reporting drone strike deaths, so he worked to make it more opaque, if anything. So I think tell anyone who died by American hands in a drone strike, innocent civilian, that Trump was anti-war, I think it would fall. Wouldn't be very persuasive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doubled the rate of drone strikes in Yemen at least. And took off all of the restraints that which were always like kind of laughably insufficient anyway, right? But but took off what few restraints there were on the use of drones. You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive postgames on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.